Jesus said, "Whoever welcomes you welcomes me, and whoever welcomes me welcomes the one who sent me." Just so we get this straight, whoever welcomes you welcomes love, and whoever welcomes your friend or neighbor or family member or work colleague or elected official or father-in-law or a chatty seat companion on an airplane or market vendor or grocery clerk or barber or UPS driver or the kid who hit your new car with a soccer ball, and so on, welcomes love. We could have fun with this. But would there ever be an end to such a list of those who are welcome? And if there is an end to such a list of who is welcome, what does that mean? And if not, well, what does that mean? Whoever welcomes you welcomes me, and whoever welcomes any one of us welcomes love. The message we hear in this morning's reading from storyteller Matthew was important enough to the early church that some variation on this theme shows up in each gospel, and often more than once. Also in Matthew's tale from chapter 18, whoever welcomes one such child in my name welcomes me. And from chapter 25, the king will answer them, "Truly I tell you, just as you did it to one of the least of these, you did it to me." Mark includes similar verses, and in Luke, Christ declares, "Whoever listens to you listens to me, and whoever rejects you rejects me, and whoever rejects me rejects the one who sent me." The Christ in John's Gospel, in true poetic style, declares in chapter 13, "Very truly I tell you, whoever receives me, whoever receives one who I send receives me, and whoever receives me receives them who sent me." There are numerous other examples and variations throughout the New Testament. The bottom line emphasis seems to be on inclusion, reciprocity, welcome, and doing for others. All those things it takes to build up community and include the stranger as neighbor. If we can believe the record of today's lesson and so many other passages, Jesus and the early disciples and later apostles put a high value on welcoming and proclaiming the presence of the divine thereby. Pause for a moment and think about what we've been hearing through all the current worldwide drama, rightly playing out in the continuing face of indifference and violence, reflecting division, exclusion, segregation, and kicking people out. There may be legitimate and compelling reasons to consider the economic impact or national safety issues in such things. But if an inhospitable, exclusive attitude goes along with these ideas, they are antithetical to the teachings of the Christ who walked the way of love and talked so very much about welcome, inclusion, and hospitality. Hospitality is a primary ethic of the cultures and peoples of the Middle East even now. Whether one is brought into a family home of Muslims, Christians, or Jews, there is joy in welcoming and belief that it is desired of the divine spirit, the welcoming of strangers who are strangers no longer, but beloved friends, believing that in welcoming people into one's home, you are doing so as love would have you do, in welcoming the living spirit among us. Such an understanding of hospitality, of the obligation of welcome, dates back well before the time of Jesus. It was a matter of survival and community health, which translated into the religious understanding of what the divine desires of us. Where and how do we experience such welcome today? Jesus said, Whoever welcomes you welcomes me, and whoever welcomes me welcomes the one who sent me. Is this what we hear? Or do we hear instead words of separation, breaking relationship, opposition, and repudiation? So many of the ugly attitudes playing out on the world stage and in the news have spilled over into our popular culture, showing up in a variety of television shows with comments about the increase in bullying, not only among children in schools, but flowing out into our neighborhoods, showing up in steeped up immigration structures and deportation rates, among other things. Where is our witness to welcoming others and thereby welcoming love? This Sunday leads into two other occasions marked on the church calendar. The feast of St. Peter and St. Paul tomorrow, and our celebration of the Confederation of Canada on Wednesday. It is important to note this for a number of reasons. First, think of Peter and Paul. They didn't agree on many things, didn't get along at all, and finally went their separate ways in the proclamation of the gospel. Peter insisted that the early believers must follow Jewish ways, be circumcised, and hold to the law. Paul's vision led him to distant lands, proclaiming faith in a risen Christ and urging believers to conform their lives to that faith. What they had in common, though, was the conviction that love had visited humanity in the Christ, and that they had brought something new and remarkable to humanity, demonstrated in a way to live, a way to relate, and a way to witness to divine love. And they both understood that the welcome of the Christ was an invitation to a place in the divine kingdom. As we celebrate this Canada Day, whatever strange way it may seem this time, as we sing O Canada and perhaps share food with loved ones, marveling at fireworks and taking pride in our true north strong and free, let us also ask ourselves what Jesus meant in telling us over and over again. Whoever welcomes you welcomes me, and whoever welcomes me welcomes the one who sent me. We may believe differently about the details of faith, as Peter and Paul certainly did, and as people of faith are wont to do. We may understand civic responsibility differently, holding a variety of opinions on things. Yet the question of the day growing out of the gospel text asks, what does it mean to welcome? And how do we do that? What does it look like in our churches, neighborhoods, national policies, and in our very attitudes? For we live our faith in a Canadian context of privilege and challenge. Jesus didn't say we have to agree on everything, but he told us pretty clearly to be welcoming. We won't all agree on everything, but as Canadians we stand proudly, and I pray yet humbly, to celebrate our beloved homeland. When we put all that together, we must surely remember that in welcoming others, we welcome love. Can we agree on that? As the author of the letter to the Hebrews reminds us, when we welcome strangers, we may be entertaining angels unaware. This is part of our story.